So the pathway of intent. So first, maybe as an introduction, intent I introduce as acting based on what we feel to be truth, acting on truth rather than our ideas, what we want. Like I have desires and goals for 2026 and ambitions and all these ideas that I generate, and then I can act on those ideas, and that's requires will. I need to put some will into making that happen, and it requires planning and an agenda somehow to get from A to B, because my B is defined, right? So I want to get to B, and so I am an A, and so I need to make a plan for how to get there. And this is kind of the way of will, a very normal way of how we do things. And then what I introduce is this way of intent, which is quite different because it's not based on uh, what we want, but it's based on what we feel deep down to be true. And when I say what we feel, I don't mean emotions. I don't mean what we feel sad and now we act on that, or angry, but it's to act on a deeper feeling of what we feel to be true. And we all have some relationship with that because we know this feeling. We call it intuition, and we all have an intuition sometimes to go left rather than right, or to be friends with that person because we feel there's some resonance there that we can't put our finger on. Even today, I was at the beach and there was this man, younger man, and I felt so like friends with him. We didn't speak, we spoke only one word together, but I felt like we were friends. And it was a resonance, it was a feeling and of a deeper truth that probably there's something very, very friendly. And so we all have this intuition. And this intuition, for this intuition to come, like an introduction to intent, of what is meant by intent, to act based on truth or intuition, deeper feeling of truth, deeper feeling. And in order, in my experience, to access this deeper feeling, we need to be very, very, very honest. So, as some of you know in the series, the first topic of that series is honesty, because before we're able in some areas of our life to feel what's true, what's really our intuition saying, there are many layers of thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, we can say in between or going on. And so it's hard for us to feel what's true because I have so many ideas of what I want, my preferences. And so to feel what's true is tough, challenging in some areas of life. In other areas, it's very easy. Maybe for you, it's very easy to feel what you want to eat. For others, more challenging. For some of you, what your work is feels very natural, intuitive. For others, work feels complicated. And so we all have areas where we can be very intuitive and areas where we're more challenged, because in these areas we have more thoughts and ideas and emotions that have been passed on to us by our ancestry, our parents, and our culture. So the culture we were brought up in, an area of work is very common where it's tough to access intuition because most cultures have very, very set ways of how work is being defined and thought about. Like the German culture, which is where I'm from, is kind of hard work and then you can enjoy. And then that's also part of my family ancestry. No wonder, because it's the culture to work hard. And then Germany has gone through a couple of wars, as you know. So all of this shapes. And then it's harder, or it has been harder for me to access my intuition when it comes to work. for a long time that's been difficult. And even today, the way that I do my work, sometimes it's like I have to get this done. I have to complete this task, and nothing can happen before I completed this task. And then in that, suddenly I wake up. Sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do. And I realize, gosh, I haven't even gone to the toilet because my culture and my ancestry, it is in the, we say DNA, but it's in the ether. It's not in the energy. It's in the energy for me to finish the task and then go to the toilet. So we all have these areas, and we have to be very, very brutally honest with ourselves to actually see what are the thoughts and emotions and sensations that look like the truth, but they are the stories we tell ourselves. And for this stage, I find it very helpful to have some partnership, some support of people to, because we are so inside our own thoughts, inside our own emotions, that they look like the truth. And maybe the truth somewhere is underneath that. So we have to be very honest. And so maybe since this should be also very practical, it's now as we go into the new year to really see where are we not honest with ourselves, or where, what do we need to be honest about with ourselves. This was the first invitation I issued to those in the series to where are we not honest with ourselves. We need to see. And once we've brought that out, even in relationships, when there are challenges in relationships, where am I not honest with myself? And can this be expressed? Can this be shared? Can an honest sharing? And suddenly, when that happens, there's an honest sharing, not what I want to do or where I want this relationship to go or what I think, but to be honest. This is what I feel. This is what I think. I know it not to be true, but let me share it. Let me be honest. And then, as all of you probably, well, I'm sure will have experienced when we're honest, really honest from the heart with love, then it's always an invitation for transformation. Something shifts the moment we're honest with our heart. That's certainly been my experience. When I'm honest with my heart, then this is the beginning of transformation. And so it's a wonderful question that we can ask ourselves every day. Where am I not honest with myself? It's not like Nick and Olga, Angelica, we've done that. Okay, that's done. This chapter is complete. We're all honest with ourselves, but it's an everyday uh, question. Where am I not honest with myself? And to bring that out. And knowing that oftentimes when that's being brought out, it's not the truth yet, but it's out. It's acknowledged. All this emotions and thoughts and physical stuff is brought out. So it's open. And then once it's acknowledged, it's found its place, then we can start to look at what's true. But to go on a quest for truth without acknowledging what's not true, that's impossible or hard. So that's a good first place to start. Where am I not honest with myself? And then once we have brought it out, we can feel more clearly what's true underneath. So now we can start practice that. So we maybe close eyes again, or however you feel comfortable. There's not a meditation way. So I don't support any kind of you have to sit like that or have your eyes like that. It's all to be discovered for ourselves. Some things work, some things don't work for us, and then we find our own way, and then we change that way sometimes because we're curious to discover more and go deeper. So you find your own way. And this is, of course, a bigger introduction to meditation. But now we go to the exact same place that we've been and we've not left, which is to feel the energy in this moment. And you can guide yourself through all the stages of feeling body, emotions, thoughts. What's there, to have an honest look. This is what we're doing here, to have an honest look. Not to avoid. Usually when people think of meditation, it's like, I shouldn't think, thoughts are bad. And well, that makes things more challenging than it needs to be. So to be honest in our look and open and see what's there in this moment. And to give some space to that, because it moves all the time. There's not one present moment, but just constant movement even when we're sitting still. And we feel now all the movement in body, breath, but we are not focused on the breath or on emotions, but we feel all the movement. Anything that comes into our consciousness is right, is welcomed. And we're not getting lost in it either. We keep being open. Keep being conscious of the movement, thoughts, emotions, sensations, like waves on the ocean. And when we get carried away by a thought or an emotion, then we open again to receive, to have an honest look. Because the moment we go after a thought or after an emotion, then we are absorbed. And our intent here is to be open and receive all, be available. Keep also being available to the energies around, maybe in the room. Anything is welcomed. And our tool here, so to say, is real consciousness that everything that comes is welcomed. And in that consciousness, we feel deeply into our being. Deeply into our heart and even below our heart. Area of our solar plexus and stomach, just below the rib cage. That's the physical place of truth. That is the place of truth. But often there are many layers of emotions going on top. So we feel through all these layers of emotions that may or may not be in that center. You may like to place your hand on that area below the rib cage. It's soft, there's no bones there anymore. Our body never lies, so to come to truth, we must feel what's there deep inside. And then we stay open, honest, and feel more deeply into the center of truth. And into that center we can, if we want, put a question or something we're wondering about to be practical and rather than answering that question intellectually by thought, we can feel into this center of truth and feel an answer rather than think an answer. And it may not be an immediate answer, or we may not get a response at all. Keep listening, opening, receiving. Thank you.